Hello, everyone. This is Independent Conservative. Thank you all for joining me once again. I want to respond to a video that I discovered in reference to rap icon, if you want to call her that, Nicki Minaj, praising Trump at the United Nations. She gave a speech at the United Nations praising Trump for essentially prioritizing the persecution of Christians in Nigeria. As you know, Christians in Nigeria are being slaughtered by the thousands, and this has bothered a lot of people, particularly in that country, and some even here in America. And Nicki Minaj is praising Trump for recognizing what has been considered to be a genocide. Okay? Now, I'm going to read just a portion of this article, just a small portion. I'm going to probably let you guys listen in on the audio. I really don't like to hear her voice that much, but I got to tolerate that. I'll let you guys listen in on perhaps some of the audio. And I'm going to give you my response to this because my response will not be what people think it's going to be. My response may upset a lot of you guys, but I have a reason to believe what I believe, and it's my opinion, and it is what it is. So let's get right into this. Rap megastar Nicki Minaj praised President Donald Trump for, quote, prioritizing the issue of the persecution and slaughter of Christians in Nigeria and thanked him for his, quote, leadership on the global stage and calling for action on this issue. While speaking at the United Nations headquarters on Tuesday with U.S. Ambassador to the UN, Mike Waltz, Nicki thanked Waltz for extending an invitation for her to speak. Waltz's invitation for Nicki, for Minaj, to meet with him to discuss the persecution of Christians in Nigeria came after she praised Trump for intervening and taking, quote, the mass slaughter and persecution of Christians in Nigeria seriously. So I'm going to play some of this.
Hello, everyone. I must say, I am very nervous.
Oh my God.
So please, well, thank you, Ambassador Waltz, for this invitation. It is an honor to stand on this stage with you and the other distinguished speakers here today to shine a spotlight on the deadly threat faced by thousands of Christians in Nigeria. I would like to thank President Trump for prioritizing this issue and for his leadership on the global stage and calling for urgent action to defend Christians in Nigeria, to combat extremism, and to bring a stop to violence against those who simply want to exercise their natural right to freedom of religion or belief. I stand here as a proud New Yorker with a deep sense of gratitude that we live in a country where we can freely and safely worship God regardless of one's creed, background, or politics. No group should ever be persecuted for practicing their religion, like I recently stated on social media. And we don't have to share the same beliefs in order for us to respect each other. We're way beyond thinking or expecting or assuming for, the person sitting next to you to have the exact same beliefs. We're beyond that. That's ridiculous. But that shouldn't make one person feel less safe than anyone in any room. Music has taken me around the globe. I have seen how people, no matter their language, culture, or religion, come alive when they hear a song that touches their soul. Religious freedom means we all can sing our faith regardless of who we are, where we live, and what we believe. But today, faith is under attack in way too many places. In Nigeria, Christians are...
Those what she said, faith is under attack in far too many places. But I would argue, what faith? I would say, and like I said, I'm not preaching, but it is what it is. The Christian faith is the one that's under the most intense attack. And I'm going to get into the details of that after I let you guys listen in on maybe another minute or so of her speech. But yeah, it's the Christian faith. And you'd have to wonder why. Why? What is Christians doing that's so bad you got to cut? We'll get into that. Anyway.
Are being targeted, driven from their homes, and killed. Churches have been burned. Families have been torn apart. And entire communities live in fear constantly, simply because of how they pray.
Okay. So that's all that you got to listen in right there. This was her speech. And I want to say, if I sound kind of harsh towards Nicki Minaj and so forth, look, please don't take that personal. I'm nobody perfect. You know, everything I am by the grace of God. And yeah, so if I sounded too harsh about her, then I'm sorry. Okay. But I don't need to go any further than what I've already read in the article and what I've allowed you guys to already hear in her speech that she gave at the United Nations, praising Trump for recognizing the persecution of these Christians in Nigeria. I think this story is a few days old. It's not really a new story. It's been going on for quite some time. But you may be asking, okay, well, Mr. Bolin, what is it exactly that you have an issue with? I have an issue. I'm glad that Trump is recognizing these Christians being persecuted in Nigeria as a major issue. Now, some people may argue, well, what does America have to do with the Christians over in Nigeria? Some people look at this, some critics look at this as just an excuse for America to put their nose into Nigeria's business and take over Nigeria, whatever the case may be. Look, I maybe or maybe not. I don't know. It could be American imperialism. I have no clue. There's no real proof or evidence of that. So I'm not going to make a judgment call on that. It could be. It could not be. I don't know. But what my issue is this: where are the American preachers on this issue? Now, maybe you guys may have seen some American pastors or whatever say something about the persecution of Christians in Nigeria. Maybe you have. I don't know. I haven't found any. I find it particularly unsettling for me personally that someone who has the reputation that Nicki Minaj has, okay, or have had, to speak on behalf of Christians in Nigeria being persecuted. I mean, now I'm not judging her. Listen. I'm not judging whether or not she's a Christian or not. She may have gotten converted. I don't know. But I find it unsettling for me personally that someone like Nicki Minaj would be speaking out against something that a preacher or a Christian here in America ought to have been doing. Where are the pastors at? Where are the Christian leaders speaking it? I'm sorry, I forgot. They're too busy preaching blessings and deliverances, and if you lay hands on this, you're gonna get it. And if you donate $1,000 and you stand in the right line, if you're gonna get blessed, and God gonna open up this for you and open up. Oh, that's what they're doing. They're too busy talking about how blessed they are, and too busy talking about if you give enough and if you give this and you give that, you'll be blessed. That's what they're doing. They could care less, in my view, of Christians being persecuted in another country. They could care less about that. But I'll tell you this. I told the church this several weeks ago. I said it's time for these Christians to start being serious about their faith, because persecution is coming to Christians in America. Now, it might not come through slaughter, but it's coming. And if people who profess to be Christians are not rooted in the faith and rooted in the word of God, they are not going to be able to handle it. They're not. They're going to walk away. They're going to give up. Because we, as Christians in America, have been so pacified and made so comfortable that we don't recognize danger when it comes. Danger is all around us. And the focus is on the Christians. And they don't seem to see that. They don't seem to recognize that they are in danger to a large extent. They are. I said this to a friend of mine. And I'm going to say his name. Charlie Kirk. Charlie, regardless of what you believe about his political beliefs and his theological beliefs, okay? From my understanding, he was, based on my observations of him, based on all the many, many speeches I've heard from him and debates I've heard from him, based on that, I believe he was truly a born-again believer and he was real. And that he was martyred. Now, whether some people say he was martyred for his political beliefs or martyred for his spiritual beliefs, look, he wore his faith on his sleeve. He made it known that he believed in Jesus, but he believed that the best answer to people's problems is giving their life over to Jesus Christ and being born again. That's what he believed, and he made it plain, and he told everyone, the crowds, he told them whether or not it was a single person. He told them it didn't matter. He wore his faith on his sleeve. So you can argue, well, he was unalived because of his political beliefs, or whatever. The point is that he was martyred in the minds of many people. And I told a friend of mine, that's just the beginning. That is the beginning of persecution for Christians in America. Where are the Jamal Bryants? Right? How Jamal Bryant is so vocal about racism and discrimination and blacks are underprivileged and this and that. He's quick to defend the LGBT community. He's quick to defend all of this other nonsense. Where was he when these Christians in Nigeria was being persecuted for their faith? Where are the American mouthpieces, the pastors and the teachers? Where are they? How come they're not speaking in the UN? Why Nicki Minaj? Of all people, I'm sorry if people get offended, but of all people, speaking on behalf of Christians? Is that what it takes to wake up people in America? Is that what it takes to wake up these leaders in American churches? To have a pop star like Nicki Minaj, whom you know her music and her videos was grossly graphic in content. Now, like I said, she may have changed down through. She may have changed because she's not as vocal now. You know, the person now is what's her name? I guess Megan Thee Stallion and the Puerto Rican woman. They're the ones that's on top now. Then again, I don't know. They might not be. It might be somebody else. I don't know. I don't follow that junk. I just don't. It's nasty, it's demonic, and it's corrupt. I just don't follow. But maybe she may have changed, and I'm not judging whether or not she changed or not. But to have her, I'm just saying that for Nicki Minaj, someone who had the reputation that she has had, to get up and speak on behalf of Christians being persecuted in a third world country, being persecuted, to me is personally embarrassing. Where are the pastors and leaders in America? Where are they? Where are the Joel Osteens? Where are the Bishop T.D. Jakes? Where are they? Like I said, they're too busy behind the pulpits, spending tons of money to create elaborate stage plays and visuals to entertain their congregation, while their brothers and sisters who really mean business for God and Jesus Christ are being persecuted for their faith by the thousands. That's where they at. Shame on them. Shame on the leaders in America. You got someone like Nicki Minaj that has to speak on behalf of your people? Shame on you. Shame on the pastors in this country. And I don't care who don't like it. Too bad, tough. Wake up and smell the coffee. Wake up, man, because I guarantee you, unless God himself holds it back, I guarantee you persecution is coming. You better wake up. You better wake up. It ain't always about being blessed and all that. In America, Christians are the freest people in the world because we in America, regardless of your religious beliefs, at this point are free to worship our God when we want to, how we want to, and what energy, however energetic we want to be. We want to be energetic and clapping our hands and stomping our feet. We can do so. We're free to do so. If you want to be quiet and dignified, you're free to do so. Freedom of religion. That is one of the blessed things about America. You are free to worship your God and free to express your religious beliefs without the government or some rogue group unaliving you and taking your head off because of what you believe. But increasingly, the rights of Christians, a little bit at a time in America, is being taken away. Before you know it, we're going to have the same thing, unless God himself holds it back. I pray he does. But I see some darkness on the horizon, especially since this last election that we had with the socialists, Islamic socialists in New York. Really? 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 I don't see blessings. I don't see blessings. I see danger. And I hope I'm wrong. I hope it's just a perception, but that's what I see. Once again, where are the Christian pastors? And speaking about this, time out for the hush hush. I may not say nothing about this. Ooh, I may not say nothing about that. I don't want to say nothing about that. Part of being empowered is knowing what the enemy is trying to do. That's part of being empowered. That's part of being empowered. It's knowing the tactics and devices of the enemy so that you can know how to go around him and protect yourself. Part of being empowered in the Christian faith isn't talking about how much blessings you have and who you are in Christ. When you know all those things, that's good to know. But you also have to know the tactics and devices of the adversary and how he's operating around you. Because he certainly knows how we operate. He certainly knows that. Once again, why Nicki Minaj? At the United Nations, for crying out loud. Stop it, man. It's time for these pastors to start coming up, man. Stop hiding behind the pulpit and sticking their head in the proverbial sand like an ostrich. It's time out for ostrich pastors and ostrich leaders. It's time out for it. It's time to start exposing the tactics and devices of the adversary. I shouldn't have to be the only one talking about this on a freaking YouTube channel. It's disgusting. It's disgusting. It's the kind of stuff make me want to be not want to be bothered. It really does, because what's the point? People don't listen. They don't listen, but that's okay. That's okay. When it's all said and done, and when the hootie swooped, everybody gonna say that four-eyed, bald-headed, 56-year-old man was telling the truth on that little bit of YouTube channel he had. Yeah, he was telling the truth. Okay, but I'm gonna be with the Lord. Then I'm gonna be gone. I'm gonna be gone. I ain't gonna be dealing with this foolishness. No, I don't plan on staying. I don't plan on being here. I don't plan on being here, but I don't want to get into the religious aspects, deeper religious aspects, and I already did enough of that. Okay, for all you political people that are watching this, I'm pretty sure you understand what I'm saying, even if you are not a Christian. Okay, I just wanted to make a critique about Nicki Minaj being on it, not a critique of her character, because she could have converted. I don't know, but anyone that knows her past music and her past videos, you know how raunchy they were. So for to have her sitting up saying something like this, and in the place of a pastor or a leader who truly represents God, to me is an embarrassment. It's an embarrassment. It really is. It really is. I'm not impressed with that. I am not impressed. I'm not impressed. I'm actually disgusted. But that's just my opinion. Okay? What do you guys think about this? Leave your comments in the comment section below. Like, share, subscribe to my channel. God bless you all. See you again.